Hello, welcome to Java unit testing with Spring Boot and Mockito. In this session, we'll see about what is JUnit, how JUnit works, and JUnit history. So, before going to know about JUnit, we need to understand what is JUnit. Let us see the definition 1 and definition 2. JUnit is a simple open source framework to write and run repeatable test. Repeatable test means it will maintain consistency, and one test we can test it in many ways. We can test like expected values, or sometimes we are expecting some any error or erroneous way we can test it, or sometimes empty fields we can test it. So n number of ways we can test. That is the reason it is a repeatable test. And definition 2. A unit test is a piece of code written by developer to test certain functionality of the code. So in a project, many developers will be there, especially Java development. So when it comes to Java development, definitely that whoever writing the code, that code should be tested well. So how are we going to test means JUnit is the alternative. So using JUnit we can test it. So what they are going to test is whatever developer has written the functionality, that functionality is going to work fine or not before deploying into any of the environment. It could be SIT or UAT or production. That is the reason the definition 2 is saying that a unit test is a piece of code written by developer to test certain functionality of the code. And other features, the method which we want to test is called as a method under test. Unit test instantiates class under test, executes method under test, and verified that it is working as expected or not. So whatever we are writing unit test, that is going to instantiates the class under test, executes the method under test, and verified that it is working as expected or not. The class which we want to test is called, we can call system under test or class under test. This is about what is JUnit. We'll go to next how JUnit works. So JUnit will be having this kind of architecture, and it would be having JUnit runner and JUnit code. And if you are seeing this when we are running JUnit, we will be getting this kind of report. That report will be in brown color because here some error is there. Failures are 1, errors are 0, and run by run one test case they executed. So that means one is failed. That is the reason brown color. If it is succeeded, it could be blue color or green color. If the test case is passed and errors are 0 and failures will be 0. So that is the reason what JUnit is telling is JUnit is a Java testing framework used to test a piece of Java code. Code under test or system under test. It has runner which determines the test, executes these tests, reports the results. You can see here JUnit test code will be there, test runner will be there. And JUnit, what it is doing is JUnit test validates expected result with actual output from the code under test. Thus, based on assertions, success or failure, it provides feedback to the developer. So in JUnit, there are the assertions you will be seeing in upcoming sessions. Based on the assertions, we are going to decide whether the expected functionality is working fine or not. Whoever writing the code, let's say the particular developer written the code, and that developer must be knowing about the output. Let's say like integer a equal to 10, integer b equal to 10, and the integer sum equal to a plus b. That means developer knows that that functionality is going to return as a sum equal to 20. So expected value is 20 and actual value also 20. So if it is giving 20 expected value and actual value, then test case will be passed. For that only we are going to write the JUnit test case. For that we are taking the help of assertions. Based on the assertions, whether the JUnit test is failed or not, it would be decided. Once that is done, then it would be finally giving the report as given right hand side the screen. This is the report. If you are executing one report, that will say runs one by one. If you are executing like one test case with more methods, then it will say runs more number of test cases. If three test cases are there, 3 by 3 it will run, and it will give errors. If any errors are there, it will give errors. In this case, no error, but it failed. So if it is failed, the output it will show as a brown color. If it is succeeded, then the report will be in a blue color or green color. That would be seen in upcoming sessions. This is what how JUnit works. Next, we will see about JUnit history. So JUnit evolved in 1997 by Kent Beck and Eric Gama, released first of JUnit. So this was evolved in 1997. After that, in 2007, they have started JUnit website. From there, across the world, people are or developers are seeing the updates. And in 2006, they have started JUnit 4. And still today's date, JUnit 4 is successfully running. After that, they started JUnit 5 in 2015. That was huge success, and across the world, most of the Java developers are adopted this JUnit 5. We can write test cases in JUnit 4 or JUnit 5, but nowadays latest version is JUnit 5. It was evolved in 2015, and still date in 2022 also. JUnit 5 is very famous, and everyone adopted, and they started executing many test cases, and it is giving very good results. So that is what JUnit 4 and JUnit 5 is very successful, and it started in 1997, and it is still going on. So this is about the history and journey of the JUnit. Now we are done with overview and introduction of the JUnit testing with Spring Boot and Mockito. Let us start some examples in our next session. Till then, thank you.